What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Bearded Fireflies Wrestling Podcast. Today is Saturday, February 3rd, 2024, the year of our Lord, the year of the dragon, not the American dragon. What was the next one?
I don't know.
The year of the story. The year of the story.
The
Yeah,
story. God damn it, the story.
It may look like another story is not being completed. And we're wrapping around to the year of the fucking Brahma Bull. And we'll get to that. We'll talk about that. So anyways, before face palm, before we get into it, before we talk about this week in wrestling, Chris, how was your week?
So I went to the Rumble, the Undertaker show, Raw, and NXT. Really good 4 days, 10 and a half hours total of driving. 10 hours of wrestling. It was a good time, man. And obviously when we dive into the podcast, we can talk about that a little more. But it was a good time. It was a good time.
Awesome, man. That's huge. I'm glad that you had a good week. And I'm glad that you had fun. We'll talk about your escapades at down in Tampa. And anyways, man, my week's been all right. I've been just hanging out, watching tons of wrestling. I looked for you on TV. A few of my friends, as well as yourself, went down to the Rumble, so that was pretty cool. They got to experience that. Oh man, so let's dive into it, man. The Royal Rumble event, dude. What was the atmosphere like?
So let me just start off by addressing the criticism of Tampa being quiet. For anybody who has never been in a baseball stadium, the acoustics in any baseball stadium is trash.
Yeah.
So the entire time we were loud, the entire time we reacted to almost everything. I think the only match that didn't really react too much was Logan and Kevin, just because Roman for some reason was on the card before that. But it was loud, man. I got to talk to all the guys that were sitting around us, and we all marked out when certain people came out for the Rumble and won the Rumbles. It was a good time overall, man. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, watching at home, dude, I was amped. And it was cool because I got to explain to my girlfriend, who's not a huge wrestling fan like you and I, some of the things that happened during the Rumble, right? Like for instance, when you have a standoff and you don't touch, it builds the tension. And
Right.
she sat there, and I explained that to her during the standoff between Bianca and one of the surprise entrances, and she's like, "That makes so much sense."
Yeah.
Right? That was and she started understanding a little bit of the psychology of wrestling and how it works, and so she enjoyed it. And she watched that first Rumble match, and unfortunately, she had to work the next day, so she fell asleep. Anyways, dude, we'll get into it, man. The women's Rumble, bro.
Fantastic.
I'm gonna say it was, dare I say, better than the men's.
So I made this point the night after, I believe, when everybody was talking about it, like, oh, the men's Rumble was underwhelming, this and that. If you look at it for what it was, okay, sure, I'll give you the women's Rumble was 1,000% better. But if you look at the Rumble or the men's Rumble past face value, past no debuts and all that stuff, everybody who was in that Rumble for the most part had a story with somebody. Look at how they started the men's Rumble.
Yeah.
Like I will take Jay and Jimmy starting the Rumble over anything the last 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Because there's story there. I'm pretty sure this is the first time any brothers have started a Rumble.
Yeah. Matt and Jeff.
Did they start the Rumble?
I think they did. I think Matt and Jeff started 1 year, but I can't remember. Maybe Matt and Jeff came out. No, they did. They started the Rumble out together, but they weren't. They weren't. One, they were still a tag team. But yeah, no, you make complete sense. I for me, I think that the women's Rumble was so much. And I felt it meant so much because of the number two entrant, right? You had the first one was Natty, and that was like, okay. But then you had the return of Naomi, which was a lot of people thought it may happen, it may not happen, but
Right.
it happened. And the reception that she got, I don't know how it was for you in the stadium, but for me watching at home, it looked like the fucking roof came unglued.
You know what's crazy is people were actually cheering for Nat.
Yeah.
Like when she came out, like I'm like, for whatever reason she's hated. Whatever she has done to receive as much hate as she's gotten, I will never understand.
Yeah.
But um, when she came out number one, Tampa was actually pretty electric for her. And when Naomi came out, the roof came off the freaking place.
Yeah. Yeah. And we seen, and that was pretty awesome. And then there was some speculation around the board as to who would be in. Maybe we got a return. Maybe we got a cross promotion. We got a cross promotion, right? We got Jordan Grace, and I will say, dude, Jordan Grace. I watched Jordan Grace's matches. She has never looked better than she did when she entered that fucking Rumble.
Facts, bro. I have watched her since she was like heavy set before she was built to where she is now. And I still don't really watch TNA. I don't whatever. Nothing against them. It's just not for me.
Yeah,
But she looked absolutely fantastic in that Rumble.
she
And
did.
I really hope that Triple H brings her back in some capacity because whatever partnership is going to go on here, whether it's going to be on NXT, whether it's going to be on the main roster, give me all of it into my veins.
Yeah, dude, I'll spend all my money. I don't even care. Jordan Grace is the fucking truth.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see that, and then we got the debut of Jade Cargill, and god damn, here, look, I'm gonna point
You
out
want to
something.
talk about a monstrous pop.
Yes, that has been something that a lot of people have been waiting on. But here's the thing: this is what I love about it, and we'll go into when the men when we talk about the men's as well. She has the same music, the same presentation as she did in AEW. They did not touch her character because that was golden. But this woman is a fucking monster. And I think that they didn't use her, didn't train her properly in AEW to receive that kind of treatment. That was the biggest fucking crowd she's ever been in front of.
100%.
And dude, she looked like $1 million.
Was she not part of the All In Wembley?
Nope.
That's criminal.
Yep.
Was she part of the company then?
I think she might have just left, but she wasn't a part of that.
That's crazy, bro.
I
Like I
think she
don't
had lost. I think she had lost the TBS or the TNT or whatever TBS championship the show before, and that was when Tony took her off TV.
right.
But dude, they presented her like $1 million.
100%. And nobody has ever doubted her star power or her presence. It's
No,
always been there.
yeah,
But our criticism has always been her ring work. You
yes,
can put 70 wins on somebody and 0 losses, and it means jack shit. When
yes,
99.9% of those wins were against nobodies,
yeah,
literal
absolutely.
nobodies. Did she ever face Britt Baker? I don't think so.
No, no. They had a stare off and they never fought.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like Tony had all of these chances and all these opportunities to make something of Jade. And
Yep.
people can say, oh, well, they made her undefeated. I'm like, okay, that's great. Goldberg was undefeated too. I
Yeah.
can't tell you 90% of the people he beat.
No, no. And she put on a hell of a show, man.
Yeah,
They did the standoff between her and Naya. Perfect. Perfectly done,
so
right?
good.
So good. Naya got her licks in. But dude, that Look, when she lifted Nia up and eliminated her, you know what that reminded me of?
Please
So
don't say Hulk Hogan.
no, Cesaro and Big Show at WrestleMania
Yeah,
when he
yeah.
just scooped Big Show up and walked him over and boom, like that. It wasn't like a pick up toss out. She literally picked her up over the ropes and scooped her up. Right, beautifully done. It shows how fucking strong she is and got. You know what? I'm gonna dare say it. She's the strongest woman on that roster.
I agree. I would say her and Rhea. I
Yeah,
would put Rhea right there with her.
yeah,
What blows my mind, we're gonna get a little more into this when we talk about the F bomb later. Um, Dave Meltzer took it upon himself to trash Jade for no reason whatsoever, and Jade had to go on Twitter
yeah.
and
I've
basically
seen that.
defend herself, saying that I keep my head down and don't say nothing to nobody, and she's still attacked. At
Yeah,
what point do we just cut these people off and get them out of the wrestling industry?
yeah,
Brian or Dave Meltzer is an absolute cancer
yeah,
to wrestling,
yep, yep. He
and I'm
is.
so sick of him.
Yep. And that's one thing that I'm gonna agree with Cornette on. Cornette absolutely hates him, and he says you have no part in wrestling. You've never been a wrestler. You're a fucking journalist. Why are we even paying attention to what you say? Right. And
Cornette's
that's
got a lot of hot takes, and I feel I disagree with a lot of them because of how harsh he is.
yeah.
But at the same time, the criticisms that he puts out, a lot of them are pretty spot on.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And that's one that I will, live and die by now. I used to not feel that way, but now I do. Um, Anyways, and the number 30 entrant was a returning Liv Morgan, which was good to see. Um, I thought we were going to get AJ Lee, but hey, it is what it is. I'm not sweating it. Look, dude, I didn't see that many botches in the women's rumble
Not at
at,
all.
at all. The women performed perfectly, and they didn't have to rely on legends, which they had.
I can tell you this about the women's rumble. You can tell the women that aren't getting responses and that Triple H needs to, I don't want to say give up on because that's really harsh,
Yeah,
but Tegan Knox, Shayna Baszler, Candice. I
Xia
mean,
Li.
those are the Zaya got a little bit more of a reaction than those other three that I just mentioned, surprisingly enough. I feel Zaya actually got in offense and she
Yeah,
actually got to do things.
yeah.
Candice isn't bad.
No,
I just feel the way that she works just doesn't work for WWE because
no.
she's still in that PWG mindset.
Yeah,
And Indy's okay. Indy's I'll put her on the borderline of okay. Um, but they need to do something with these black and gold girls because it's not working. Even
no.
Zoe, who
Yeah,
at one point was getting a reaction, and then for some fucking reason, let's stick her with Shayna Baszler. What? Who in the blue hell thought that was a good idea?
yeah. I
Because
don't know.
as great as Shayna Baszler once was, she is so content what she's doing that it doesn't even feel like she tries anymore.
No,
She's literally reached Ronda Rousey level.
and it's sad because I wanted to, I love Shayna Baszler, man. I really do. And it's hard to watch a Shayna Baszler match because I know she's going to lose,
Yeah.
right? But anyways, it came down to the final three: Liv Morgan, Jade, Bailey, and if you did not watch the Rumble, we're going to spoil it for you. Your winner is Bailey. Right call, wrong call. What do you feel, Chris?
Right call, right call, right call, right call, right call, right call. I was afraid Jade was going to win it.
Yeah,
And that's not a knock at Jade. That's a please, Triple H, don't be a dumbass.
yeah. And we talked about this last week, and we
Yeah.
both said we felt Bailey was going to win.
I thought Liv was going to win. Like, when she came back, I'm like, okay, so it's going to be her and Rhea at WrestleMania. Nope.
Yep, yeah. Now,
Executed perfectly.
I agree. I think Bailey's story moving forward, and we'll talk about that because of SmackDown. We'll talk about that. But we got some statistics for you guys, some things that happened. We got Naomi. Naomi lasted 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 18 seconds. She's the second longest woman in Royal Rumble history match. And we've got Bailey. Bailey lasted for a minute and an hour, 3 minutes and 3 seconds, setting the record from last year from Rio. We also got Naya. Naya has 8 eliminations, tied for the all-time women's elimination match record, which is held by Shayna Baszler, well tied. And finally, the only superstars to compete in all 7 women's Royal Rumble matches, which is Natty and Liv, which is
So
surprising.
sad.
I
So
didn't,
sad.
yeah, and I think, like I said, the women they had a fucking hell of a spotlight put on them, and they delivered, man. They really delivered.
I wanna give a heavy shout to a superstar in the women's rumble who I think is arguably one of the best sellers I've ever seen in quite some time, and that's Kyrie Sane.
Yeah,
That exhaustion spot that she did outside of the rumble when she was getting eliminated
the Spider
was
Man,
so flawless.
the Spider Man.
Yes. And when she fell off, bro, like that sell was perfect.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, bro, we need to acknowledge sellers a lot more than we do.
Scripted or unscripted?
I think it was scripted because the way that she fell.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right, so the next match in a weird turn of events was the Fatal 4-Way for the men's, or for the World Heavyweight Championship. World Heavyweight Championship. What is it? Undisputed Heavyweight Championship. And it was AJ versus LA Knight versus Orton and Roman. And dude, like, look, man, I'm gonna say this right off the bat. Roman sold the shit out of everything.
Everything.
Everything. Great fucking match. I don't know why it went on second, but great fucking
Really
match.
weird card placement.
Mm-hmm.
Like you
Mm-hmm.
would think they would kick it off. Like I would have started.
I think I have an understanding why. Um. Anyways, we'll get to that in a second. Roman retained. Solo interfered, but that had no outcome in the match, right? And this is one of the things that I've seen online. People are like, "Oh, once again, Bloodline interferes and hands reigns the match." Look, AJ got bumped off the top rope by LA Knight because of Roman. And if I'm not wrong, Solo had just demolished the goddamn barricade. Solo was not a part of that match
Right.
whatsoever.
He wasn't a factor, exactly.
He wasn't a factor. Yeah, he ran in, but it had zero bearing on the match.
Right.
And so, and still, your undisputed WWE Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. We both called it. What do
Yep.
you think of the match, Chris?
So the crowd was heavy behind LA Knight. I think they need to move him back on the main event scene for a while or something because I just feel like now he's just there because of a catchphrase.
Yep.
And while he's still over with that crowd, I don't think that's going to go away. I think, okay, he's obviously not going to take the title off of Roman Reigns.
No.
So let's stop putting that fantasy out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needed to be in that match because of AJ. And if the reports were true, then they didn't want Randy Orton getting pinned yet, which, okay, I get.
Yeah.
Yeah, AJ, I think Knight should have taken that pin, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But I guess AJ he's not cold, but he's kind of like riding that border of cold and hot.
Yeah.
So I guess him eating a loss doesn't completely hurt him.
Yeah.
But it was an overall okay match. I watched it back. I think like the day after I finally rewatched the whole show on TV, and yeah, I mean, I really appreciated the call from Michael Cole when he's like, if you have a problem with Roman Reigns, beat him. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Cole is so good at what he does.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that McAfee came back, and we're going to talk more about Pat McAfee just a little bit.
Mhm.
But yeah, dude, perfect match. I think it was great. It didn't do anything more, anything less for anybody. Uh, in a way, it was a filler match, but it was a good filler match.
Yeah.
It was to put the title on the line because it hasn't been defended for a hot minute. All right, so next we got KO versus Logan Paul for the U.S. Championship. Um, Quite a bit of back and forth. Great work. We seen Logan Paul targeting the broken hand of KO, and we seen one of Logan Paul's henchmen come in, slide brass knuckles in the ring. Logan grabbed him. He swung at KO. KO took him off his knuckle, hit him, knocked him out. What he said that he couldn't happen to him. He went for the pin. The ref, seeing the brass knucks, and still your United States champion, Logan Paul. What do you feel about this?
I'm just going to say it is the most creative ending I've seen in quite some damn time.
Yeah.
I was a really big fan of how it ended. Not really a big fan of DQ endings for the most part, but god damn, whoever was the producer for that match, give yourself a pat on the back because that was chef's kiss. Just Jesus,
Yeah,
so
you can't have Logan eat the pin.
right,
You can't have KO eat the pin.
right,
Um, so the best way to do it, and you don't want another count out,
yeah,
double count out, because that's been happening a little bit more frequently than we would like to admit.
right.
So what's the next best thing is a DQ. And I, like you said, I don't like DQ finishes, but I haven't seen a DQ finish in a while, so I'm not upset about it at all.
Yeah, yeah, and I just really people were trying to shit on it. I'm like, bro, no, listen. Like this isn't your standard. Oh, well, I kicked him in the ball, so disqualify me thing. This was literally 1, 2, 3. Wait a minute, you have brass knuckles.
Yeah,
So good. That
yeah,
referee is so good at
yeah,
that call.
yeah, yeah. It was a great call. And then we seen after the match, KO lose his cool like he has been, so he might be reverting back to that angry KO, which I love. And he beat the piss out of Logan Paul and
Yep.
stunned him. So
Didn't he put his ass in the table too?
yeah, he put it.
Yeah.
He power bombed him through the table.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a
Did
good
you
match.
did you happen to see how he sold that beatdown post interview? This
No,
man was so out of it. Like he literally looked like he just woke up from getting knocked out. It was so good. I'm like, bro, whether he's working it or not, bro, Logan is awesome.
Logan's a natural, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Logan's a fucking
His
natural.
when we get into SmackDown, I want to talk about his promo because Jesus Christ.
I love him. Anyway, so next was the men's rumble, and so like, look, I think that they put the world heavyweight championship match on second so that they could set up for the boost spot.
Sure,
I mean, did
it
it
makes
need
sense.
to? No. Anyways, so we seen the men's Royal Rumble. We didn't get that many surprises.
I don't think he needed it to be honest with you.
No, but per se, we really didn't need it, right?
Right.
The number 1 and 2 were Jimmy and Jay Uso, which, like you said at the beginning of the broadcast, perfect, perfect, right? Because you had, and I called it. I was talking to my buddy Ryan, and I was like, Jay comes out number 1, Jimmy comes out number 2. And Jay
Irregular.
came out, and I was like, it has to happen, right? Like this, you have to have the face off. They're gonna have a match at Mania, like it's gonna fucking happen. You have to have that face off because it starts the road to WrestleMania. So, and it was fucking perfect the way they did it, right? Jay came out and he had the crowd hype and he was doing the hand motions, and then you heard ooh, so, and he fucking turned around in that face, dude, just like watching Jimmy walk down the aisle, right? And Jimmy just like hunched over, walking down the aisle, grimacing like a motherfucker, right? And then they did the stare off in the ring, and you saw Jay just right, and Jimmy's like kind of cowering back a little bit, dude. The chemistry,
That's what I'm saying, bro.
got the tension. You could cut that shit with a knife,
Yep.
and it was perfect.
So my question is, would you have had either one of them eliminate each other?
Personally, I think it should have happened.
So here's my thoughts on that, because I heard a lot of people say that too, that the way that they were eliminated was kind of underwhelming. I'm like, okay, and I appreciate that point, but also look at it like this: the Bloodline has a problem with the entire freaking roster,
True.
not just one person, everybody. So sure, you can do Jay eliminating Jimmy, or Jimmy eliminating Jay, but would that be too obvious? I think it'd be
Yeah.
too obvious.
Yeah, it would. You're right. So some of the returns or debuts that we've seen Braun Breaker,
God,
fucking animal. I stand by that.
so
When I
good.
what was that pay per view where he was in the match with all those dudes?
Deadline.
Deadline. He came in like Deadline and speared everyone.
Everybody. Everybody.
Ev- Fucking everyone. Then we saw the return of Andrade. Perfect. He kept his music from AEW, kept his presentation from AEW. I love the mask. I love the hands
It looked like an
on.
homage to Charlotte too. The match.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And all the rumors that said Andrade and Charlotte are separated are wrong because there's fucking pictures of them together in the back.
Right.
Like her dressing him, getting him
They're
ready.
idiots. They're idiots. They don't know anything.
They don't. They don't. And so, like, dude, his return was beautiful, right? People thought he was going to come back. That's cool. But I don't know what it was like in the stadium, dude, but there was what I
He got a
seen was a
decent pop.
massive pop.
Yeah, he got a decent pop for sure. And you know what's funny is that people on Twitter are like, "Oh, Andrade was another flop return from Triple H and bringing back an AEW guy." I'm like, you guys are morons, really, like truly morons.
Yeah. Andrade got a huge pop.
Absolutely.
It was great, and I love to see the chemistry between him and Legado and LWO, right? And you've seen him come in the ring, and you've seen Santos reach the arm out and say, "Hey, look," and he took out Santos, right? And we don't know if he's going to be solo or if he's going to run with LWO or if what have you, dude. But like, this is the Andrade that I wanted to see for so long, the NXT Andrade. And I know you have a problem with black and gold, but black and gold is the true Andrade.
So, okay, my only problem with Black and Gold has always been Triple H did not properly prepare any of those guys and girls to be called up. Look at Johnny and look at Ciampa.
Yep.
Look at what they had to do to Ciampa in NXT post Black and Gold.
Mm-hmm.
They had to revamp everything and everybody.
Yep.
And while I don't agree with a lot of the changes on a lot of the people that got called up now, honestly, this is the greatest era of NXT we have ever seen. And I will die on that hill.
I agree.
Because Black and Gold gave us a lot of great superstars.
Yeah.
But look at what happened with Karrion Kross when he got called up. You can blame it on Vince all you want.
Yeah.
Vince didn't help. But Triple H didn't prepare that man properly to get out of Black and Gold alive.
And like Karrion Kross was in NXT for what, 8 months? And he was injured half the time?
Just about, yeah. He got injured when he won the title the first time. And the second time he won the title, they had him do a match against Jeff Hardy just to lose.
Yeah.
And people were trying to use the veteran argument. Okay, Jeff's a veteran. Sure, I get that.
Yeah.
But don't put Karrion Kross in a match against the men.
Yeah. Yeah.
Protect the damn man.
They were in a lose-lose situation, a returning Jeff Hardy and a debuting Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
Like, they put him in a lose-lose situation. But anyways, yeah, dude, you saw Karrion Kross come out. Him and Bobby Lashley came out. Then you see the Authors of Pain come out and attack Bobby. And then you saw Street Profits come out, right? Beautifully done. It carries on, and we'll talk about the SmackDown portion of it. But the final four for the men's was Drew, Punk, Gunther, and Cody. And look, man, I thought Gunther was going to win.
I thought he was too. I wouldn't have been mad either.
No, I thought he was going to win. He was dominant the whole match.
Here's the thing also to that too. I would have taken the title off of him before that Rumble because of that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because okay, say you gave him that Rumble win. This man's on 600 plus days of being a freaking champion.
Yeah.
You don't put a man like that in the Rumble if you're going to have him win.
Well, he also had the title, the Universal title in the Rumble last year. I mean, not Universal, the
I see
Intercontinental
that,
title.
right?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, we can debate it all day, but anyways, Drew or Gunther got eliminated quick.
Yeah.
Um, so real quick, we got my friend Dominique, great friend of mine. She says, "I'm so lame. I only remember wrestling from like the early '90s, but my kiddo is suddenly into it. I'll have to start watching this podcast so I have any clue of what's going on." We try to bring a subjective or um unbiased filter to it, just the way that we like wrestling and stuff like that. Anyways, just a little bit. Anyways, so then we got Gunther was eliminated before Drew
By Cody
by
twice,
Cody twice, right?
back to
And
back.
then yeah, dude, and then Drew got eliminated by Punk, and then we seen, I swear to God, the longest, most drawn out elimination.
It was really good.
It was good. It was.
Everybody in the crowd was going ape shit for that
Hmm.
match. For whatever, the final two.
Yeah. And at one point, I didn't know who was going to win. Right.
Yeah. I
Like at
thought
one
Punk was
point,
going to win. 100% I thought Punk was going
I
to win.
was like, Cody's too cocky. Like Cody came out and he did the Cody cutter, and then he was like, it's done. And then Punk did something, and Punk was like, right, or like to go to sleep, and I'm like, oh my god, some if they do a Royal Rumble 2000 where both men eliminate each other, I don't know.
To be fair, that was a botch.
Hmm. To be fair, that was a botch. Anyways, it was a solid bout, right? Like, and that
Let's
was
not
something.
forget the wonderful line that CM Punk said before Cody threw his ass out. I didn't wait 10 years to come back to get beat by Cody by Dusty's kid. I'm like, damn, bro.
Yeah, I heard that and I was like, oh, is this heel Punk? Is this heel Punk? I love it. So at the end of it, your winner, Cody Rhodes. Second,
So,
or he's the fourth person to back the Royal Rumble in U.S. history,
yes,
which is
sir.
awesome. And it was really, it was cool, right? And after the match, he did the fucking too sweet, and he did the bang bang, and then he looks up and he points at Roman and he says, "I want you at WrestleMania." So for me, I was like, "Oh, he already made his choice." And we're gonna find out what happened. But you know, there was a lot of buildup on
Yeah.
Raw. Um,
Raw was great. Raw was
Raw
really
was
good.
fucking fantastic.
Like
You
you
were
went
at
into
Raw
it,
too.
fantastic show.
You were at Raw as well.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think it was because of the building, but it sounded louder than
mhm,
Drop. But again,
mhm,
less fans and it's a smaller venue, so I mean,
mhm. We opened up the show with Punk coming out in an arm sling, and he said that his WrestleMania dreams this year have ended because he's injured. Um, Out comes Drew. Drew says he feels bad for him. Then Drew says, "I'm not a spiritual man, but I prayed for this and it happened." Look, look, dude. If you say that Drew is not a fucking heel now,
he's so good, bro. Him on Twitter, he's a menace.
he is a fucking menace now, dude. And then they went at it, right? And
Yep.
this is why I'm saying, look, I don't think Punk is injured. I think that this is a swerve. He was using his injured arm. Look, when Cody tore his goddamn tricep, or tore his pec, the man did not move his arm. And I know it might be different body parts, but look, if you tear a tricep, I don't think you're going to be
I
fucking
don't
moving.
think the injury was as bad as
No,
people were making it sound.
no.
I think it was manageable pain, And I think it was one of those things where I think he's going to be back a lot sooner than people think he's going to be back.
Yeah.
Um, I want to address the Punk promo really quick because I made my thoughts very clear before Survivor Series about the man.
Yep.
Um, I was unsure how to feel about him coming back, and I made a post on Twitter and basically said, way back when I was a CM Punk fan, when he was straight edge, when he was ECW Punk, like I loved that Punk. That was arguably one of my favorite CM Punks of all time.
Yep.
And fast forward to the pipe bomb. Okay, I understand your frustrations. I don't care. I don't want to hear bitching. I want to watch wrestling. I don't want to hear you complain.
Yeah.
Then it turned into I'm gonna verbally assault John Laurinaitis and Triple H and Kevin Nash and everybody who was in the path of all that. Then the Rock thing happened. Then Brock Lesnar thing happened, and then the Cena and CM Punk match happened, and then Punk walked out.
Yep.
So okay, Punk walks out and tries the UFC. He fails at that. Punk acknowledged the UFC. I have never in my life completely 180'd on my feelings of somebody until he mentioned the UFC promo. Because man, if there is something so different about this man, that promo proved it. He
Yeah.
acknowledged that he failed in the UFC and that he tried it because it scared the shit out of him.
Yep.
And again, we go back to this promo whenever he first came back. He doesn't need to acknowledge AEW.
No.
And again, this is not a knock at AEW, regardless of my feelings out of that company. Him and Cody don't need to mention AEW at all. There's
Nope.
nothing that either one of them did in that company that has shifted the business to where it is right now. Nothing at all.
Nope.
And CM Punk talking about that promo and talking about his torn tricep and the UFC and everything else. God damn it, I feel so heartbroken for him. Because it made you feel some type of way because that man was crying real ass tears.
Yeah.
And that's the first time in a minute that I've listened to every word that he said. Not only because I was there live, but because he made you feel what he was feeling.
Yeah. Solid.
And I respect the absolute shit out of CM Punk for that. And that's a hard pill for me to swallow because I hated that motherfucker forever. Probably for a decade that he was out of WWE. And that completely changed my mind on him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mentioned, when he came back that I don't want to see the same Punk that we've seen forever. And we're not. This is a different Punk and I love it. Moving on to Drew, dude, that look that he gave Punk under the ring ropes when he was just sitting there and he was smiling at him, dude, that is the Scottish psychopath if I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
And it was great. So a few other highlights. We had Judgment Day come out. Judgment Day brought Truth out. Truth, Damien, you're like my big brother. Finn, you're like my brother. Tom, whatever. And then he moves to JD, says, I don't like you. And then, Damien says, well, I like you. I think you're funny, and that's why I'm not going to do this. And the rest of Judgment Day beat the shit out of R-Truth.
Long overdue.
Oh, yeah. Long overdue.
I said this when they first started doing the segments. I have zero issues with R-Truth. I love R-Truth. I think he is arguably one of the funniest people to ever be involved in WWE, hands down. You can't write that man's promos.
Mm-mm.
That said, if you're going to take your unified tag team champion serious, this shit's got to stop, like immediately, because you're making everybody in that group look like an ass clown.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like Sammy and Bloodline. This is a completely different animal.
Yeah.
And I think people were starting to think, oh, well, R-Truth is in the Judgment Day. Ha ha, he's the greatest fucking thing that ever happened in the group and this and that. Okay, there's nothing wrong with comedy, dude, but this ain't it.
No.
I said it when it first happened. I'm like, okay, this is getting out of control.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we seen the Judgment Day, Priest and Finn against DIY.
bro,
I already knew what was going to happen. It was a
bro.
solid match, but it
That
was
match, that crowd was hot for that
yeah,
match.
yeah,
Um, at one point, I thought DIY was going to win. I was
yeah,
a little low key afraid they were going to win.
yeah,
Um, Not that I would have been mad if they won, but it's one of those things where it's like, what are we doing here if they win?
yep.
Like, I don't want to see Triple H let people win because of bias.
Very true. Very true. Um, and so Judgment Day retained, and we'll see what happens in the future with them. We got Cody came out. Cody was saying how he wanted to challenge Roman for the title. Then we got Seth come out, and Seth was like, "What kind of champion do you want to be? You want the title, the workhorse title, or do you want the Hulk Hogan title?" I thought that. I mean, he buried
He
Roman.
buried the shit out of Roman
He buried Roman on the
in the
mic,
worst possible way.
worst kind of way. Buried him,
Yep.
absolutely fucking buried Roman on the mic. And some people will agree with it, some people won't. I used to be one of those people that would have agreed with it, but looking at like Roman doesn't have to defend the title all the time,
Right.
but every time that he shows up, people are there. People
Right.
Roman puts asses in seats,
Right.
right? You
You
can
can
like him or not,
argue that same point with Seth too. I mean, Seth does draw whether people like him or not.
but Roman's a bigger draw.
Oh, 100%. Not even close.
No.
I think the reaction for Seth Rollins is unjust and unwarranted simply for the fact that he's playing his character.
Yeah.
You want a champion that believes in themselves,
Yeah.
regardless of how that promo came across. Like, put the burying part completely aside.
Yeah.
You want a champion that believes in what they're doing. That
Yeah.
title was created for whatever reason, whatever backstage bullshit made that happen. It was created because we needed a champion on TV.
Yep.
Do I agree with workhorse stuff? Kinda. Very, very like I draw the line on kinda. And again, we'll get into Roman's response. But I think Seth making his case and all his responses on Twitter, trying to get Cody like, hey, like, what kind of champion do you want to be, and comparing Dusty and him and all this stuff. I think it's great character work, and I
Yeah.
think Seth is one of the best storytellers out there, simply because he's a Triple H guy. Who
Yeah.
again, Triple H is one of the best storytellers of our generation, and I
Mhm.
will fight that tooth and nail with anybody.
Yep. Yep.
But I it did not look good for viewers that are like, oh, well, Roman is supposed to be this untouchable god, and we're gonna fucking bury him on my TV. Like, what? I don't understand what you get out of
No. And so at the end of that promo, Cody said, "You gave me something to think about. I'll think about it." Raw was good. It just felt like it was missing something.
that. I thought for what Raw was able to give us, um, I thought it was pretty decent. That Drew and Sammy match kind of took me off guard,
Yeah.
but I'm glad they didn't give Sammy the win just because he's coming back from injury.
Yeah.
Um, I really like Drew McIntyre as a full blown heel, and I like the pyro that they added to his entrance.
Yeah.
I'm glad the goddamn sword is gone,
Me too.
because if I saw that sword one more time, I would have given completely up on him. And I just think it was one of the dumbest aesthetic
Yeah.
thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. It wasn't very aesthetically pleasing.
Right.
I thought it was cool when it debuted and he used to shove it down into the ramp and the
And then he
explosion.
chopped the goddamn top rope on one show. I'm like, yep, I don't want this anymore.
Then he chopped the top rope and then he just kept carrying the motherfucker to the ring. Like,
I'm like, bro, you're not him. You are not William Wallace. Please stop. Jesus Christ.
who got signed to Raw from NXT? Oh no. Andrade got signed to
Yep.
Raw. If I'm not
Andrade
wrong.
went to Raw.
Andrade went to Raw, which is a good call.
Yep.
I think that's the only person that really signed with Raw.
Yep. I think with all the
So far.
other the things that happened last night, I think we're gonna see more people show up on Raw
Yep. Yep.
because SmackDown got a fucking boost like no other.
Yeah, SmackDown got a boost.
Oh
SmackDown
yeah.
got a boost. But we'll talk about that here in a second. NXT, man. How was NXT? You were there live.
So every time I go, man, it's always special. I there are no bad seats in that venue, as you saw on that photo album.
Yeah.
We were on hard cam side, or I was on hard cam side, and I was by the Chase U section. Um, so Chase U announced that they're gonna be doing a calendar for the Chase U girls that's gonna start going on sale on Sunday. Um, it was a pretty great reaction for Chase U. I'm not gonna lie to you. And Jesus, Mother of God, respectfully as I can possibly say it, that calendar is gonna move some numbers, brother.
Yeah.
um,
Brother.
oh God, I love NXT so much.
Yeah.
Um, we had Lyra versus Tatum Paxley because Tatum, or I'm sorry, Lyra versus Pax. Roxanne versus Paxley because Paxley put Roxanne through a table. Roxanne won and then started attacking Paxley after the match, and Lyra saved her. So we're kind of getting like a callback to the Mickey James Trish Stratus story. Um, so happening this Sunday is Lyra versus Roxanne for the title. I think Lyra is going to retain. I just don't really see Roxanne holding on to another title, considering she was at the Rumble.
Yeah.
And we forgot to mention that, but that's okay. Then we had Trick and Mello out for the Dusty Rhodes Classic against LWO. I will say this, man. People are really behind LWO, like a lot. Like I think they are two of the most talented guys on the entire roster. Um, Especially Joaquin Wild. I think he is phenomenal in the ring. Of course, Trick and Mello won, so it's gonna be Trick and Mello versus Baron and Braun Breaker. Um, Again, I cannot wait for that match. That's gonna be incredible. Um, and then we had Dragon Lee. Who did he take on? I think that ended in disqualification, but Oba Femi came out and started attacking Dragon Lee. We're gonna get Oba Femi, the 25-year-old next in line athlete, is gonna face Dragon Lee at Vengeance Day. Um, then we have OTM, which is Lucian and Bronco against the family, which is Stax and Tony D. Um, they're gonna have a 3-on-3 match, six man mixed tag um, match at Vengeance Day. Um, and then we're gonna have Joe Gacy, who has been on TV a lot more lately. He's kind of tuning into his more hardcore side of things, and it's going to be him and Dijak in a no disqualification at Vengeance Day. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Um,
Yeah.
for those of you who have never watched NXT, man, Dijak is special. And Sean, you saw him on Deadline. Dijak is incredible.
He is.
So I have no doubts on what this match is going to do with him and Joe Gacy. Um, So the Trick and Mello story is very interesting. Remember that whole theory
Yep.
that I said to you about that.
Hmm.
So Trick Williams is going to be facing Ilya Dragunov for the NXT title as well. So he's gonna be doing double duty that night.
I seen
I
that. I was
think,
going to ask you about that.
yeah. So I think what's gonna happen is Baron and Braun are gonna win the Dusty Classic. I think
Hmm.
that needs to happen. I don't think Trick and Mello need that Dusty Classic. Um, and I think Mello is going to screw Trick Williams out of the main event. I think Ilya is going to retain, and I think Mello is going to show his true colors.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if it doesn't happen.
Yep.
Um, the NXT was phenomenal, man. We also had Ariana Grace against oh my God, Fallon Henley. That was a lot of fun. Fallon Henley's a blast to watch in the ring. I went to wrestling school with her. Bless you.
It was coming. It was coming. Then it stopped. You cursed me, man.
um, I actually started out wrestling school with JC Jane and and fucking Fallon Henley before they went into NXT. So it's really cool to see
Nice.
where they're at right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is
Um, Ariana Grace won that match. For those of you who don't know, Ariana Grace is Santino's daughter.
Yep.
She is fantastic in the ring, and she is embracing this character like no other. Um, very, very good show. A lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. It's NXT. NXT is something fucking special.
And when we get into what happened last night, I am going to die on the hill until I see something different of NXT being the best show.
Yeah. Anyways, so we opened up the show with Logan Paul, SmackDown. We opened up SmackDown with Logan Paul. Logan Paul shit talking, just shit talking. At
He took
first,
a shot at everybody.
he took a shot at everybody.
Bro,
You know.
him mocking CM Punk is having me rolling, bro.
Oh, my widow shoulder.
My
Yeah,
widow shoulder, my widow tricep, my widow knee. Shut up. We all get hurt.
yeah, yeah. That shit was funny, right? And like that whole promo, I was just dying. I thought it was great.
He's so good at what he does, bro. I hate it. I hate it so much. He's
He
so good.
he was like, I underestimated KO. I thought that KO was just, a walking potato. I think he said that. And he was like, but he put up a fight and he gave me a fight, but I'm still champion, right?
Yep.
Like he actually won the match fair and square. Like he didn't win from DQ. But
Right.
we saw KO come out and KO was like, I want to beat the shit out of you pretty much. And give me another match. And he was like, hey, you got to get to the back in line. There's people that are waiting in line, and you're gonna fight Austin Theory. And so KO Austin Theory fought.
Fantastic match.
They always
So
have a
good. I'm gonna say this about Austin, bro. He is the most slept on talent on the entire roster. And I think he needs to turn baby face in the worst way.
Yeah.
He is so good in the ring, it's ridiculous how good he is. Like
Yeah.
some of the moves he was pulling on KO, bro. I'm like, bro, where the fuck is this Austin Theory been? Because he's so good.
That pump handle flatliner that he did was just insane.
Really good, bro. I think he needs to turn babyface soon, like really soon.
Yep. And so KO picked up the win. Solid match. And then we seen the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley against Final Testament. That the match never fucking started because they just brawled, right?
Yep.
Which is cool. I mean, we don't get to see that very often.
Happened for a reason, though.
Happened for a reason.
We got B-Fab.
Yep, they got B-Fab now.
The arguably the biggest upgrade in her life. No longer hit row.
Yep.
Now I'm just curious to see what happens with Ashante.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So, yeah, dude, it's things are starting to shape up between the two of them. We've seen a fatal 4-way tag team match between Tyler Bate and I want to call him Butch instead of Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne against Pretty Deadly, and Legado del Fantasma, and which I'm happy they're Legado, and I'm happy Elektra Lopez is with them.
Oh damn, bro! I forgot to mention Elektra and Lola Vice on NXT, bro. Lola Vice, of course, won that match, and that was Elektra's send off.
Of course, but that I mean naturally. Anyways, and then we got the LWO, dude. I hate what look, man. The LWO thing was cool, but every move they do, LWO, it's like, come the fuck on, man. I get it.
So here's my thought on that. I think we're at a special time in wrestling where you have to understand where the attention span is with modern day wrestling fans. They're not like you and I. They're not. We don't need that instant gratification every single time.
Nope.
What happens 9 times out of 10 when people are at wrestling shows?
Yep. Yep. Very
Oh,
true.
look at that move.
Yep.
Wow, that guy won. What the fuck? Let me tweet that.
Yeah.
That's what wrestling fans do now.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, they're either A, on their phone, or B, not paying attention. So you have to get that constant, you're trying to grab that viewer's attention. As obnoxious as the LW chant is, it's kind of like the yes chants. That was
Mhm.
before shit was really bad with social media.
Oh yeah.
Now
Absolutely.
try to fast forward that into today's wrestling when they still try to do the yes chants in AEW, and it doesn't work anymore because not
Right.
only is that a WWE thing, but it's modern day fans are really hard to catch their attention.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, yeah, so we seen Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate pick up the win. They pinned Pretty Deadly for the win. Yeah, boy. Yeah, it was a solid match between all four teams.
So I didn't know it was to face whoever was going to win at Raw. I didn't catch that part of the stipulation.
Yeah, um I thought that um yeah, I thought the same thing. I was just like, is this like I thought it was like for them to go against Judgment Day, and then they're like, oh, this team, like halfway through the match, oh, this team is
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
fight the winners of Raw, and it's like, well, that shit don't make sense. Just pick a fucking team
At
for Raw.
least they're trying to do, at least they're trying to acknowledge that both brands have fucking tag teams. They
Right.
weren't doing it forever.
So then we seen fuck, it came up to main event time, not main event time, but um Cody came out. Oh no, sorry, Roman came out. And Roman cut a hell of
Well,
a
before that,
promo.
before we get to that,
Oh
before
yeah,
we
yeah,
get to
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. We seen the debut of God damn it, I can't remember I can see her face, can't remember her name.
Tiffany fucking
Tiffany
Stratton.
Stratton. Yeah, Tiffany Stratton. And she went against Michin. Solid fucking match. Great
Bro, I
match.
love that moonsault so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, and we saw Naomi sign to SmackDown. We saw
Yep.
Braun Breaker tease SmackDown. We saw Jade tease SmackDown too.
Yep. Yep. So
I
there's a
think
huge.
both were going to Raw.
You think so?
I think so.
I think so too. I would love to see Jade against Bianca
Same.
because dude, that standoff, the chemistry between those two, they didn't touch whatsoever, and it was
Right.
just like one strong woman against another strong woman. God fucking damn it, that was like the epitome of what I wanted to see.
Right.
Um, I'd love to see it. I would love to see, dude. There's so many I would love to see Jade against Rhea Ripley, dude. Right, like solid match. Well,
We
yeah,
might even
man.
get Jade versus Becky at
Jade
some point.
versus Becky. Yeah, dude. Solid match. Becky got eliminated by Jade.
Right.
And yeah, dude. So I would love to see it, right? There's so many matches for Jade right now. Jade versus Charlotte.
Mm,
Mm,
that's gonna
God,
feed families.
God damn it. But yeah, dude. Then we seen Roman come out. Roman obliterated. Look. Seth buried Roman. Roman obliterated Seth. He said,
Roman took that shovel and beat the shit out of Seth and buried him alive, bro. Holy
he,
crap, man.
dude, Roman was like, "How are you gonna try and come at me when you wear your wife's clothes?"
Right, right. And then he's like, didn't I beat everybody who competes for that title? So
Yeah,
aren't they my number two? I was like,
yeah.
God damn,
He was
bro.
like, we should call them the loser bracket, the loser bracket championship.
Bro, when he brought up the workhorse comment, I was crying.
Yeah,
He's like, you broke your back 3 months into trying to carry that show. And then he's like, do workhorses walk like this? He started limping. I'm like, I'm done.
dude, absolutely obliterated him. And
Oh
he
my
was like,
god.
"You think you're a bigger draw than me?" He was like, "You think you're a bigger draw than me? Would you much rather have Seth Rollins' money or or tribal chief money.
You work more than me. Yes, I work 10 times less than you, but I make 10 times more money.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely obliterated Seth.
I was fucking in tears. I'm like, this man gives no fucks.
Right. And somebody was like, my buddy Ryan and I were talking. He occasionally jumps on and comments. And I said, Roman just buried Seth. He has improved so much on the mic. Right?
Yeah,
Like now he can just carry his own. But like he buried Seth.
yeah.
Like under a pile of rocks.
This man took a shit on Seth and buried him with his shit.
And he didn't even put a headstone on that motherfucker.
He
Buried.
put his tribal empire on top of him.
He put the table on top. He put the table in the chairs, and Jesus Christ, he put a carpet over top of that motherfucker too, man. Because you need a running carpet under the table.
Oh my God, he put the table on him. I'm done. Jesus Christ.
But then we had Cody come out, and Cody cut a pretty decent promo and said oh, we forgot to mention everything else about that happened. We'll talk about that here in a second. But we had Cody come out, and Cody alluded to, I'm going to face you, but I'm not going to, but it's not going to be at WrestleMania. And the person that I'm talking to, yeah, it's going to lead us. Go ahead. Take it over, Chris.
I think it's time for the F-bomb. The Rock is apparently going to be challenging Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I
Of the week.
have never been so disappointed in my entire life in a booking decision. And I was talking to a bunch of people about this last night. Maybe Triple H is trolling everybody. Maybe there's some small chance that we're still getting Cody and Roman, because none of this, and I stress the word none of this makes sense, because the report is supposedly saying that Cody is going to challenge Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I love Seth Rollins. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. I picked him to break up the Shield and chose him to be the breakout star, and he was. I rooted for him beating Brock Lesnar, and I defended him after that whole Hell in a Cell debacle. But to have The Rock, a 52-year-old board member of TKO Executives, and again, this is just a report. Nobody in WWE is confirming this to be true. But I just want to read this for the listeners, because I have never been so infuriated with a man in my entire life. In WWE, there isn't going to be anyone that's not going to at least consider The Rock's ideas. This wasn't done to target and politic Cody Rhodes out of his main event of Malice, but out of the belief that Johnson was the best idea to make money now and respect his new position with the company's parent company. This was a strategic move to give Johnson more political power overall, and to show Endeavor's faith in his involvement, and that even Paul Levesque, Triple H, would lose that power struggle with Johnson at this point. Bruh.
Look, man, you're a board member on TKO. You don't need to politic your way in this situation, right? And he did that. If the reports are true, he politicked his way into a situation. It didn't need to happen. I do have thoughts about Cody and Rowan. My fucking issue with this is that this is a match people want to see, but it doesn't need a title, right? It doesn't need a championship. I don't think
we've made that clear from the beginning. It doesn't need a damn title.
I don't think that it's going to be for a championship. I think that it's going to be a trial by combat or whatever they did. Jey Uso Jey Uso and Roman, but it's going to be for the head of the table for the lei that Roman wears.
Yeah,
and I think that Rock is going to win that.
Here's my thing on that too. So this was another report that we were talking about before the show, and that was Cody going over Seth, So that means Seth putting over Cody for the fourth time, which makes Seth look even stummer
Yeah.
than it did before.
Yeah.
But they were talking about doing a unification match with the winner of the Rock and Roman. What are we doing at
Right.
this point? And
Right.
again, I try not to invest into dirt sheet and journalist bullshit because most of the time it's bullshit. But The Rock is a board member.
Yeah.
There is no doubt about that. That is confirmed and that is solid in stone. He is a board member.
Yeah.
But if he really politicked his way into the words used, save WrestleMania that didn't need to be saved, ridiculous. The
Absolutely.
dumbest statement I've ever heard in my entire life, if that's true. Because if The
Absolutely.
Rock had that much doubt in WWE, why join the goddamn company?
Right. Absolutely. I think moving forward, and I told you this before we hit, go live, was I think what's going to happen is Cody's going to challenge Roman at Elimination Chamber, which defeats the purpose of Cody and Roman at Mania.
100%.
But hear me out. Cody goes Elimination Chamber, and he says if the Bloodline gets involved in any kind of way, Roman forfeits the title, or that would be Nick Aldis. There's one of two ways this can play out. Roman, um, Roman, Roman loses, set or Cody carries the title into WrestleMania and challenges the winner of the Elimination Chamber, or the winner of the Elimination Chamber fights Roman literally right after the Chamber, and somehow Cody wins that. He says, "Hey, look, I'm going to cash in my thing to go in to the Elimination Chamber. I'll cash in my Royal Rumble win to go into the Elimination Chamber." He wins. He goes on to fight Roman. Bloodline gets involved. Rock causes Roman the match, and then Cody wins.
So I was thinking about it in terms of what if they do something like Austin and Shawn Michaels, where Mike Tyson was the enforcer.
Well,
The
Rock
Rock
is the
doesn't
enforcer.
need to be in that ring. We saw him with Jinder, bro. The man got gassed
Yeah,
with doing nothing.
right.
Like we're gonna have Roman carry the whole fucking match.
That's what's going to be like. John Cena carry the match with him.
At least the match with John Cena wasn't terrible. He
No.
was actually ring ready,
Yeah.
opposed to being away for how long?
Yeah.
10+ years?
Yeah. So that leads us into it was I was I know people are excited about it, and I mean, yes, to a degree I am excited about it, but I don't that's not the match I wanted to see at WrestleMania. I wanted to see Cody against Roman at Mania. And I know because Punk got injured that altered plans, and that's fine. But to put The Rock in there, I think that's to save WrestleMania. They could have literally done the same thing that they did with Cena and The Rock, and The Rock challenges Roman for the next WrestleMania, and that would have been that.
Like if this is a year build up, I'm fine with that. I have zero complaints about that. But I'm not gonna sit here and just accept Roman and fucking Rock for a title match that was supposed to be Cody's. Like
Right.
if Cody is literally being asked to fucking step aside for The Rock, bro,
Yeah.
I hope nobody tunes in for that fucking match. And that's
Yeah.
genuinely how I feel. Like
Yeah.
there are so many fans of The Rock, and I will never in my life take away anything that man has contributed to the business. But the second he stepped into Hollywood, he's dead to me. He doesn't exist past 2004.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be very popular saying that, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't need to beat Punk in 2013. He sure as shit doesn't deserve to be in the WrestleMania main event this year.
Nope. Nope. I agree.
And I'm tired of pretending like this is supposed to be okay and we're supposed to eat shit and like it.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing that we forgot to mention was Bailey made a choice
Right.
as to who she was going to fight at at WrestleMania. Rhea Ripley or Io Sky, and she came out. And prior to that, we seen Damage Control in the back, and they were talking shit and pretty much said that Bailey's done, or Bailey's done tonight. And Bailey goes out and she hypes a match between her and Rhea Ripley, and then she's like, "But maybe I want to go another route." And that promo that she cut, dude, you could hear her voice crack, right? Like you could hear her start to tear up. She made it real, and she said, "I traveled up and down the roads with Damage Control, but now, pretty much alluding to now, since Asuka and
Kyrie.
Kyrie showed up, you turned your back on me, and you no longer want to be with me. What happened?" Damage Control attacked Bailey and kicked Bailey out of the group. Essentially, Bailey grabbed a pipe, fought them off, challenged Io for WrestleMania. I think that was perfectly done.
So the point of where she started talking Japanese
Oh
is
yeah,
what really sent me
yeah.
100% in on this feud.
I
And
was
I think that Bailey and Io is going to be one of the best women's feuds of this year. I
yes,
know, like you said, you're not high on Io, and a lot of people will have the same argument, and I
yep,
get it. But to ignore how great she is in the ring
yep,
and the chemistry she can have with specific women, and
mm-hmm.
that's across the board. That's everybody. Everybody has good matches with specific people.
Yep,
Like look at Bianca and Bailey. I
yep.
think their chemistry is nearly unmatched.
Phenomenal.
And look at how everybody treated the Becky Trish Stratus feud. How that shit all over it. Then
Yeah,
what happened? They tore the house down with one of the best steel cage matches I've ever freaking seen in my life.
yep,
And they
yep.
didn't even need to do anything crazy on it.
No, no, they didn't. It was, the thing is certain people have chemistry, and I think that Io and Bailey are going to have great chemistry. It's going to probably be one of the best women's WrestleMania matches that we've ever seen.
I think it very well could be up there with Charlotte and Rhea.
Right, right. I think, yeah, absolutely. But that leaves me to wonder who Rhea's going to fight. Who do you think she's going to fight?
So it's either going to be Nia, which I think that's going to happen at Elimination Chamber. So I don't think that should happen at WrestleMania. I think Becky and Rhea is the money match there. I think that stare down that they had and that promo that Becky cut on her, bro, when she's like, "I think you're better than me," bro. I
Yeah,
felt every word she said because I'm like, God damn it, I want that match right freaking now. Like
yeah.
Becky and Rhea might be another one of those matches that's gonna drop a lot of jaws.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. But it looks like WrestleMania is shaping up. Maybe some ways that we don't want to see, maybe some ways that we do want to see. But I think we got to watch for the future, man, and see what happens in the future.
I
Now,
truly think where things are going right now with the Rock situation, I think we're on the road to a train wreck. And until I see something different, because if they truly do Cody and Seth, I think WrestleMania is washed. I truly outside the main event stuff, sure, I'll watch for that.
yeah,
But if they give us Cody and Seth and Rock and Roman, I will not be watching either match.
yeah,
And I love all four, well, I love 3 out of the 4 people that
yeah,
are involved in that whole thing. But I'm not going to watch a Vince McMahon esque fucking WrestleMania because that's what this feels like.
yep, yep. We'll have to watch and see. But moving forward, looking forward into the future, Chris. I don't know if you are seeing this, but they're doing a WrestleMania kickoff show in Vegas.
God help
Uh,
us.
I don't know what that looks like, right?
God
Like,
help.
I don't know what that looks like. Is it like a press conference? Is it like
Yeah,
a?
I guess it's like a press conference, advertising, and then shit.
Why wouldn't they have the press conference in fucking Philly?
Because the Super Bowl, that's why. And get a lot of eyes on there. That's the only way that I can make sense out of that whole thing.
Oh, stupid.
Here's my thing also. I wanted to add this last point and we can just drop the Rock thing because I'm tired of talking about him. How are they going to build Rock and Roman when neither one of them have an active freaking schedule? And that's what really pisses me off.
Yeah.
Like Roman made a lot of good points on his schedule, and I totally appreciate Roman in every single possible way, and I will never channel any of this hate towards him. But The Rock is not going to have an active freaking schedule, and neither is Roman. When are we going to see him last? A week before WrestleMania?
Right. Right. It makes no sense whatsoever. Um, I'm. I don't know, man. I don't
I'm
know.
curious.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But man, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this build up for WrestleMania. I don't. We'll like I said, we'll see in the future what happens. Um, we're still waiting to hear. Normally, by now they would have done the reveal for who they're putting in the Hall of Fame for the at least the first one. They haven't even done that yet.
Yeah.
So it feels like this year kind of feels like very empty for a 40-year WrestleMania.
I think they'll probably wait like maybe in the middle of this month to announce the first one. Um,
Yeah,
who do you think should headline it?
Bray.
I agree. You know
Bray.
would be a real bitch if they put the Rock. Could you imagine if they put the Rock in the Hall of Fame? Oh my god, I would fucking kill myself, bro. I would
Yeah,
never watch wrestling again if they do that shit. Like, oh my god, I
yeah.
just throwing a scenario out there because
Is this a
Jesus
year? Is
Christ.
this a year of shitting on wrestling fans? You know what I mean?
Oh, bless you. Oh,
Thank
2023
you.
WWE was fantastic. 2024, hold my beer. Bless you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, I really hope that they do something with Bray. Right? Like I feel like Bray should have been a cover of WWE 2K.
But I think maybe that could have been a family thing too. Like maybe it was discussed. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
I truly think Triple H and everybody that works in that company think the world of Bray and his family because
yeah.
obviously they all have contracts with WWE. They're all getting money from the whole situation. You know,
For the
money.
rest of their life.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. Like maybe it's too sore of a subject to, hey, we're
Yeah,
gonna plaster your dead spouse on a cover of a video game, and you got to see him all the time, so it's gonna hurt
yeah,
more. So I get
yeah,
it.
yeah. I don't know, man, but the future is up in the air right now
It's
for
rocky,
WrestleMania.
unintended.
But yeah, so we'll have to tune in, see what happens. But
God help us.
um, Chris, you got anything to say before we go off the air?
Everybody tune into Vengeance Day because NXT is about to prove why it's the best and most consistent show of the week.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know there's a little shameless plug and whatever, but if you want to go to my page, scroll down a little bit, you'll find a link for Girl Scout cookies. My girlfriend's daughter is selling Girl Scout cookies. You can buy them online, and they will ship directly to your house. This is the second year that Girl Scouts is doing that. I know for us it's our first year, but go there, buy them, help support a good cause. They're donating part of the proceeds to the SPCA up here, and yeah, so thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for tolerating my anger.
Yeah, thank you for tolerating Chris's anger in my mouth. Uh,
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate you.
all right, until next time, yeet.
Yeet.